right, welcome to the February 18th meeting of the Parks Advisory Committee. We're going to go ahead and start our meeting now with roll call.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Frank Stevens. Here. Shelley Reynolds.
Here.
Tristan Jones. Here, maybe we'll wander in. Sherry Winters. Maybe a little later, Ron Cantrell.
Here.
All right, Jim Hill. Here. Woodrow Terrell.
Here.
Tiffany Long.
Here.
Victoria Rizzo.
Here.
I believe we have our alternate Sanford in the reading room. Oh. Okay, I just got an email from Sherry. It sounds like she's using the old link for the, we have Sherry's number, wants to text her to just go to the city website, follow that link. It'll follow right away. Thank you, Woodrow. Ready? All right, we have a quorum, and myself, Jonah Jacobson, is here representing City of Troutdale staff.
All right, thank you, Jonah. Item number 2 is to review and approve the January 21st, 2026 meeting minutes. We're gonna hold on a second. I mean, if anybody has anything to say, go ahead, but we wanna make sure Sherry gets in before we move too far forward.
Sure. I mean, I do have one I can throw out there that Mr. Wilcox pointed out via email earlier today. There is, let me see here. I don't know the page number, but there is a quote from myself that where I was misquoted as saying the word inflated, and the word I used was conflated. So I'm going to find the location. Page 2, paragraph starting with Superintendent Jacobson, line 5, reading, quote, "He wanted to ensure his statements were not being inflated as the committee's concern or desire." And yes, Paul, you're right, that word was actually conflated.
Anybody else?
For the minutes. I had a bunch of notes, but nothing like Paul's. I did have a question on page 4 with noting the need for bathroom was the most frequent feedback received about the new park. But we didn't say anything about feedback from where. That was a question mark for me. And then
on page 4,
right at the bottom, where it says staff proposed.
$1,000 for prefabricated restroom at Sharon Nesbitt Park, noting the need for bathroom with the frequent feedback received about the new park. I believe that allocation was not one that made into my proposed budget in the end. I don't believe that is that. Okay, I don't think that this is correct. So I would have to go back and listen to the meeting notes, but what we did, we do have the site is stubbed out for a restroom.
So that's on the capital projects.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. And then
perhaps it's saying, I mean, I proposed that as one of the, possible priorities to you all, and you said that was lower on the priority list than some of the other high ticket items.
yeah, if we could amend that, that would be good. And then I had a couple.
Oh, there's Sherry. Okay.
I had a question, middle page. The PAC should refrain from making unnecessary requests in a tight budget situation.
Which page?
Page 6, middle, little over halfway down. And then the comment that last year the police had been cut to fund the bridge. Could we have clarification on that? Because I don't remember ever seeing that in the budget, and certainly not in the master plan.
Clarification on the bridge funding or on the?
Police had been cut to fund the bridge.
Okay. So clarify that from the minutes from last year's budget
Correct.
approval? Okay.
Yes, and then, and that in line with looking at the master plan, I did not see anywhere in there where the master plan reflected seriously considering outsourcing for parks. In none of the surveys, it was nowhere in the master plan.
Hey, this is Sherry. I just want to comment on that, Frank. It wasn't last year. It was several years ago.
Okay, it still requires clarification though.
On the budget.
You're a budget.
Yeah, we can't cut the police because they're on a contract.
Okay.
So there's no way we cut the police to do the bridge
Okay.
because
I don't have the minutes from last year's budget approval in front of me now, but I can certainly ask the Public Works Administrative Assistant to review those minutes, and I can come back next month with the results of that review, if that is what you're requesting.
Yes.
If I understand that.
Clarification and amendment.
Okay.
All right, was that it, Frank, from you?
Yes.
And was there anybody else that wanted to make notes on the meeting minutes from last month?
This is Sherry. I just say that some of the areas where it refers to members stated, that was really me on some of that.
Is there any specific page number that you want us to look at or amend, Sherry?
Well, I mean, if nobody cares about it, I guess I don't care either. I would have said, let me tell you on the spot. I marked it here. Bottom of page 2, which might have been what Frank was just talking. No, that part he was talking about. Committee discussion includes concerns about the proposal, noting that the street names had existed without complaints for nearly 40 years. I said that. Renaming streets would impose costs on both. I was me that said that stuff.
So, okay, so you would like the minutes to reflect that? You want that to have your name in front of it?
It doesn't really matter to me if it is or isn't. I just, in some other areas, I see it's been cited specifically to somebody, and I felt like, when it says members, maybe it's because they didn't know who was saying it, and I'm just saying that it was me that said it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's quite possible that the transcriber does that in moments where they cannot tell exactly who is speaking. So I appreciate that.
Okay, and then I would say at the bottom of page 5, where under the staff proposed 40,000, then there's another dot and it says support was expressed for the Beaver Creek Canyon Trails repairs allocation. That was noted money should not be wasted on making improvements on the east side. It was me that said that don't waste money on that side because, we're driving trucks down there, whatever. So, but again, it's not so critical. I just, in case it mattered and somebody didn't want to have to take it, it was me.
Okay. Thank you. I made a note of that.
All right, with that, I just want to say a reminder, this is Tiffany. Maybe we need to be saying our names more before we're talking. I don't know if that would help the transcriber. So let's remember to say who you are before you speak so that they can hear us, and maybe that will help with some of that. Thank you for that reminder and noting that for us, Sherry.
Yeah.
Would somebody like to move to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion that we approve the amended minutes for November. Is it November? No. What's my date?
January.
January.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. We're going to move on to item number 3, communications from staff.
Thank you, I'm almost ready, I'm just stalling for time while I open this. Oh, right. Well, welcome everybody to February. February's a short month. It feels like we just met not very long ago. We've been working on some stuff out in the parks. I don't know if any of you have noticed that there's been a lot of like tree structural pruning and trimming going on around a bunch of parks. We have been going out and doing a lot of tree care. And this being the appropriate time of year for it, and bringing our chipper out, it's been going really well. Parks workers have been kind of teaming up and moving from site to site, taking care of a lot of our trees. So yeah, you may have seen that at Sunrise Park, College Nature Park, Stark Street Greenway, and most recently at the Columbia Park Woods. If you have gone to the dog park recently or walked through the woods, you may have noticed that we have been finally using our new John Deere deck mower that we bought last year that has been sitting for a minute, and clearing out a bunch of the blackberry brambles that are kind of on the edge of the trees, which has been allowed us to get in a little deeper and start doing more air gapping on some of the trees that we want to protect from the ivy that is out there. So, and the other reason that we have been kind of doing a lot of brush removal kind of on the backside of the Columbia Woods there is, if you all remember the Reynolds High School bench, we've been trying to open that whole area up and create more line of sight, because there have been kids partying out there repeatedly again this year. So that was the request made of us last year by the MCSO school resource deputies to help them make it easier to patrol out there. So anyway, check that out. It's exciting. That machine is, I don't know, I think that machine is exciting. It's a good tool. It's gonna really help us get through some of the heavier mowing that needs to happen in some locations. So. One other kind of rainy day project that's been happening a bunch lately is the restoration and repainting of a lot of park entry signs. We've been pulling down a bunch of old weathered signs around the parking lots and entryways, and sprucing them up and posting them out there again. We do have plans to install a new sign at Sunrise Park later this year, and we're also now working on the sign at Columbia Park, which is long overdue and in need of an update. So that's exciting, I think. Shelley, you may have noticed some sidewalk repairs going on. We've been doing some sidewalk repairs and tree removal in front of a lot of parks and city facilities, or not a lot of them, but just, earlier this fall I made an inventory of locations where we had some sidewalk concerns that needed to be dealt with. So those have been happening over the last couple of weeks. Right across the street from Llewellyn Park, in the Llewellyn Greenway keyhole right there was a row of 4 or 5 maple trees that had buckled the sidewalk really bad there. So those trees were removed, and I'm thinking about replanting street trees there, given that that's the area that we just did a lot of brush and tree removal related to wildfire fuel reduction under the state fire marshal grant. I don't know, perhaps maybe we'll leave it open, but for the time being, at least, the sidewalks are looking a lot better and safer there. And also at the Harlow House / Robbins Way trailhead right there was also some sidewalk repair that occurred there last week. So. And also our pre-application for Metro's Nature and Neighborhoods Grant for restoration and improvements at Helen Althouse Park was completed and submitted ahead of the January 27th deadline, thanks to a lot of help from my colleagues in the Community Development Department. And yeah, so we'll find out later in March if that pre-app is being forwarded for further consideration and if we're going to be invited to complete the formal application process. At this point, I haven't heard anything about it, but they got our info. So yeah, Also, in conjunction with community development, progress continues on the urban forestry management plan project and street tree code audit and street tree manual. So we are still plugging away at that stuff. I've been meeting with them weekly with the DUDA consulting team that is grant funded. The entire project is grant funded. So yeah, and these documents are going to be presented to City Council for review later in the spring. I don't have an exact date yet, but we're getting close. So it will likely be after the budget process. And just over this last weekend, City of Troutdale hosted another successful Friends of Trees volunteer planting event. And in total, 32 trees were planted. Hold on here. So yeah, in total, 32 trees were planted as part of the event. 5 down at Sharon Nesbitt Park. And the majority of those, 22 of those, were actually fully funded under Friends of Trees Federal Inflation Reduction Act grant funding. So the majority of those trees came to us at zero cost to either Troutdale residents or the city. So that's a win, I think. And yeah, it was a great event. It's it seemed like everybody really enjoyed it. I was really happy to see a very broad range of folks coming out to participate, including a group of Reynolds High School students. So yeah, it was really excellent. And let's see what else is going on. Yeah, we're getting ready for spring. Yesterday, I met with the administrators of East County Little League at Columbia Park to do our annual preseason walkthrough of the fields, discuss the plan for in-kind services and maintenance for the season, and just go over their schedule of games and tournaments. So I believe they've already started practice out there. I don't think that gameplay has started yet for the year, but you'll likely see East County Little League out at Columbia Park here real soon. So. And yeah, that's my staff communications for the last month. So.
Thank you, Jonah. Do we have any questions? Woodrow?
Woodrow Trail, Troutdale. Jonah, do you have any photographs or video of your win at Nesbitt?
At Nesbitt, I do have a few. I didn't email them to myself. I'd be happy to. I mean, if you want to circle back to this later in the meeting, I can throw them up on the screen just so they're part of the video. But also, I could text them to you right now. I apologize.
You know, I want to celebrate your wins, Jonah.
Thanks, man.
Let's make sure we get pictures of that and pictures of the community doing great things.
We definitely will include a lot of those photos in the Public Works quarterly reports to City Council, which I hope you all see as well. If you don't, then we could probably get those out to you somehow. But
seems like there should be like a social media post, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's a great.
Make that happen. That should definitely happen. So yeah, and likewise, if anybody listening or if anybody in the room participated in the event and has additional photos, I will take those as well. Email those to me and Kevin Mooney and we'll get those on the webpage. Thanks. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Any other questions online? Are there any questions for Jonah online?
This is Sherry. Jonah, you said 40 trees or something like that?
32 total, 5 in parks, and 22 out of the 32 were paid for under the federal IRA funding.
Okay, and those were street trees.
They were trees that actually, the 5 that got planted at Sharon Nesbitt Park were included in the ones that were paid for under the federal grant funding. The federal grant funding was geographic, basically. So it was the locations that the trees were ultimately planted had to be within certain socioeconomic demographics. So, and Sharon Nesbitt Park happened to fall within those. I think if you look at some of those maps that are in the master plan on page 26, you can kind of see a pretty rough picture of that. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's because wasn't street tree planting going on, or is this was all part of the same thing?
It was all part of the same thing, yes, yeah, so this was, yeah, these were mostly street trees. All but
Okay.
5.
Okay, and I guess what I'm just wondering is, I know you had talked about it at either the last meeting or before, maybe when the trees gal was there, that there were some areas that were very vacant of trees, street trees that have been taken down. Um, did we end up getting a number in those areas, or?
Well, it's voluntary, so I would have to go back and check. I do know that actually there was one planting that I participated in with my subgroup, because the volunteers split off into different groups, right? But I can tell you for sure that one tree was planted in a removal site. So we did replace one, at least one that I can guarantee, and I'm pretty sure more than that. But yeah, it's because, it's homeowners who are choosing to replant a tree, right? So we are not going back in and filling in those vacant places for anybody. But if you'd like, Sherry, I could certainly get a tally by the March meeting for you of how many trees were planted during the Valentine's Day event that were replacements.
Okay, I was kind of curious if it was like a splattering across Troutdale or if it ended up with concentrations in areas. So, I mean, if you have a chance, go for it. If you don't, it's all right.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this is just one small part of creating a more complete street tree and urban forestry inventory. That's going to be a years-long project, I think. But it is as these events happen, like what just happened last weekend, we should certainly be capturing all of that location data, as we go.
Okay.
Because that's something that has not happened as much in the past. But we need to kind of be building a better inventory. That's something that I would really like to be working on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions online? All right, we'll open it to public comment. Does anybody in the room have questions for our superintendent about anything that was? All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you, Jonah. Item number 4 is public to be heard. Comments need to be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Is there anybody in the room? Open this to public comment. You came to share something that's not already on our agenda? Nope. All right.
So if that's not on the agenda?
If it's not,
This is your time, yeah, if you
I
came
can
to say
talk
something.
about public art installations.
go ahead and step forward and state your name and where you're from, and then we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Stand right here.
You can sit down if you want.
Pull a chair out, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Troutdale here, live on historic Columbia River Highway, and I reached out to Travis, and then he suggested that I come to this meeting about. So the installation project is called the Remaking Instructions we were given, and it's interactive art, but it can be viewed or you can interact with it, but it's just with like words or viewing. It's not like you're climbing anything interactive or engaging in it that way. But it's like a series of things, the instructions we were given. And so like one thing would be like a chain and it has tags on it, like, and it's called Chains of Advice. And so it would be, don't worry about it, or other people have it worse. You'll get over it, those types of advice. And then people can tie tags, like of their own pieces of advice that they've heard, too. So it's like, that's how it's interactive. And then like another one is things we learn too young. And it's about like, learn how to read a room, stay quiet, and then another part of the installation, because it's a series and it goes all the way through the remaking. And it's like a door, and you can put an exit sign, and you can leave at any time. You can exit at any time, and most people won't go through the door, And then the final one is like a chair, and it's like, are you ready to be seen, And you can just take a seat, like a park bench seat, But is the art piece, is the person sitting in it. So that's kind of the series. And yeah, so I just didn't know who I was supposed to talk to, and Travis said I should come down to this meeting. Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Carrie Ann.
Carrie Ann. Thank you very much, Carrie Ann. And are these, so are you one of the artists?
I am the artist, yes.
Are the artist, okay,
Yeah.
cool. And do you have any like pictures, or you have any like description,
I
other
do.
graphic type things we
I
could
didn't
look
know
at,
I was
or?
gonna talk here right now. But yeah, I do have mock-ups that I've sent over, yeah.
Awesome. And have you done something like this before?
Yes, I've done art for a long time. I had a art firm down in Los Angeles in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard called Daff House. And so we did a lot of local artists, street artists, and it was a boutique as well. But I just moved back here 2 years ago, and my family's right here. My stepdad, my mom are right here, so yeah.
Well, I mean, certainly, thank you for reaching out. I received your email as well, and I talked to Travis about it and actually mentioned it, so I'm glad that you connected with him, and I was gonna mention that these folks here are really, kind of more the policymakers in terms of things like, showcasing public art by citizens in Troutdale parks or public spaces, and that is actually a pertinent conversation that has been taking place in this committee over the last year related to the new park. I mean, there's also a lot happening with the Cascadia Arts Festival. Is I think also a good sort of avenue to be looking at with this. But yeah, so would you like, for me to, if you have, I have your website, would you like me to forward that to the committee members for review? I can certainly do that. Okay.
I have a question. Is there an example on your website of the, because you're looking for a place to do this art installment at?
Yeah.
I want to clarify, are you a Troutdale resident? Do you live in Troutdale? Okay, and how long have you been here?
Well, I moved back here 2 years ago.
Okay, so-
Columbia River Highway, but my parents have been here forever.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I've only been here for about 3 years, so. And then, is there an example on your website of the installment you're talking about? No.
But I have mock-ups for it, like I just need a place to do it.
And did Hugh email those to him?
I don't think I've seen images of it or.
Because I would love to see images like of the idea, if at all possible.
Woodrow, and I'd be curious as to how far out you want to space this, right? I mean, is it something that you want to go like relatively short distance between? Or is it something we can,
Multiple locations.
we can spread out over a nice walking path,
What is the footprint of the,
Yeah.
the footprint of the piece? Because that's like, that will kind of, if there's a location for it, that'll like happen.
Because that could make it an economic development thing, because we can drive traffic over a longer space. You follow me?
Yeah, the idea is to spread it out, yeah. And like social media is like, it's a good like picture thing as well. And,
Yes. Good job. What made you come back here for? Big city like LA.
I was there for 22 years. I just divorced and I brought my kids up here. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you this is Frank. Thank you for coming. I'm excited to get the information, and I will reach out to you. I'm part of the Cascade Art Festival team, volunteers that we're working together to do in May. I would love to have you in a booth.
I'd love that, that'd be good.
So if we could talk about that later, once we get the information.
Yeah, certainly. So I have your email, and also if you'd like to write any of your preferred contacts down on the public attendance sheet, then I can absolutely share that with everybody.
And then your art ties in with park really well.
Yeah.
When we're talking about a potential distance, we just have the new Sandy River, right along the Sandy River bike path and the Chalk Trail and a ton of green space.
Oh, cool.
So you have potential of different options all around the city. We have a lot of parks. Sunrise Park too, that would come to mind.
It was super cool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it'd be also super cool is you can use it, how we can tie it in with the historical area they're looking at. But I'm just thinking, it just, as it has people think about what they're going through, right? With the part where your change of advice and things like this, sometimes you want a little contemplative space before you get to the next one,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I don't know, I'd really like to see what your thoughts
My
are.
thought
Maybe
was
you've
it
walked
was
around.
multiple places, yeah.
Yeah.
Not all together.
Nice. Yeah, I
Lots
think
of
it's
options here.
Rick, have you thought about volunteering in the city? Maybe there's a board or committee or something that will participate in? Okay, fine.
Does anybody have any questions for Carrie Ann online?
And speaking of online, I apologize to Tyler. I don't know how long you were waiting for me to let you in, but welcome.
All right, it looks like we're good. Thank you so much, Carrie Ann. I look forward to hearing more about your installation and learning about it. I would make a recommendation if you're interested. I know Frank is on the Cascadia Arts Committee, but at our last city council meeting, those are available to watch online on YouTube. There was one, I want to say last Tuesday, and the city council, they donate funds to make that festival happen, and there's a lot of information about how the festival is changing this year, so it might be good to watch that. You could learn a little bit about what's going to be happening at that festival.
I'll hook you up.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any other public comments to be heard? Nope, those are agenda. Okay, we're gonna move on to item number 5, community garden preseason discussion. I think we should open the discussion with an update from maybe Jonah on the community garden, and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just making a quick note here before we move on. I want to make sure I follow up on sending you all that stuff. So.
Thank you.
All right, the community garden. So we've been talking a lot about the Sunrise Park Community Garden over the last year, and it certainly, I'm grateful for the discussion. I feel like it is already setting us up for a much more successful and organized season for all of the gardeners who sign up. That's coming up real soon for all of those interested who may be listening. I believe March 1st is that the deadline to sign up? In any case, go to the city website and look for info on the garden if you're interested. But that's coming soon here. So in our discussions over the last 6 months or so about the community garden, there's been a lot of attempts made to pull our volunteer garden manager, Michael, into the discussion, and I almost met with him back in December, if you recall. We didn't quite connect, and I don't really, I have reached out to him. I don't really know what's going on, but before I get any further into that side of the discussion, I guess I just want to express a lot of gratitude to Michael. I was not here at the inception of the community garden, but I know that Michael McRae has been involved in it from the get-go. He has put a huge amount of work into it. He's got a lot of sweat equity into that garden. And we, I just want to, preface any discussion about the garden with nothing but gratitude to Michael, because honestly, without him, I don't know if there would be a community garden at Sunrise Park. So, and it is a volunteer position, and he's done it for a lot of years. So I'm not, I'm not here to, say anything bad about the issues that we've talked about over the course of the last 6 months, with some of the gardeners feeling like they are not really able to have a point of contact, and or not really getting their needs met, as per their understanding of the agreement, and certainly part of that is on my responsibility. I'm the one who forgot to deliver, or didn't realize that we were supposed to deliver mulch at the beginning of the season to the community garden last year. That's the reason they didn't, receive that. So that is not on Michael, that's on me. And we are well prepared to do that this year. We are delivering mulch to the garden next Monday. And as well as a few of the other specific items that were discussed by one of the gardeners back in the November meeting, I believe. So in any case, I think that whatever is going on with Michael not returning my phone calls, I want to just through the whole thing. My approach is the understanding that sometimes things happen in our lives and things get complicated, and I would give him the benefit of the doubt, and you know, patience and grace for whatever might be going on there. And I hope that he's all right. I don't know. So in any case, you know, I'm happy to talk to him whenever, if, you know, that happens. But that has not happened just since our last meeting. And so, you know, as such, I don't really have a lot to tell you about, you know, I can put the garden manager agreement up on the screen here. I will tell you that the volunteer garden manager is a very essential role in the garden. It is mentioned repeatedly in that document as far as like the, you know, the duties and you know, I don't know, purview of that role. It's pretty essential to the function of the whole thing. And so, you know, I hope that everything is all right with Michael. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know, for the time being, it's almost March and we're gearing up to start out there. I don't want this to hinder any Troutdale residents' ability to plant a veggie garden at the community garden or you know, participate in it in that way. And so while myself and the Parks Division, as you all know, don't have a ton of capacity to be taking on additional duties, we're gonna support the community garden this spring, at least in an interim capacity, in an interim period. In order to deliver, you know, that amenity to Troutdale residents this year. I do think that if we are going to discuss a rewriting or modification of the community garden caretaker agreement, we also need to establish some sort of alternate caretaker. I think it would be wise to, or a vice caretaker, or somebody, you know, some backup pinch hitter, somebody who is the secondary phone number that is listed for gardeners to call if they have a question or concern or a need. And you know, and so for the interim period, if that needs to be my phone number or Parks or you know, or if we need to generate a specific email, city email that is connected to my email or something like that, then that's what we'll do. And I hope everybody, you know, will also, you know, if people want to participate in the garden, I hope that they will also, you know, sort of see the need for increased individual contribution to upkeep and you know, to kind of get us through that period. I will continue to try to you know, to meet with Michael and talk with him and see, you know, figure out what's going on there, and if you know, if it gets to a point where either I am truly unsuccessful and have given up, or I contact him and he lets me know that he, you know, either does, you know, want to do it and we can establish a better line of communication with him, or he tells me that he doesn't want to or cannot, then we'll go from there. And that's about the best that I think that we have to offer at this point. I would love to, and through my involvement with the community garden this spring, you know, I guess that will provide me an opportunity to meet with the gardeners a little bit more and hopefully meet somebody who will be willing to be a, you know, a backup manager or a, you know, or a alternate. So that's about the best solution I got there. But so I'll take any of your comments, but yeah, that's where the garden's at.
This is Tiffany. Has the contract that, it sounds like you did adjust it slightly.
No, I mean, I wanted to meet with Michael to do that. I have reviewed it repeatedly. You know, and yeah, it is severable. I mean, it's with 30 days written notice by either party.
So the current contract that's going to be signed by people, because it's Tuesday, March 3rd.
Okay, yeah, that's coming right up now.
It's still last year's contract, still says that they're not allowed to use power tools and all the same stuff.
So we cannot allow just the general public to be using power tools on city property. The liability for that is just too high. So, in terms of like, if you're talking specifically about like mowing and edging inside of the garden area, then yeah, I guess that's gonna be included into parks workers' routines out there, at least as much as we can fit it in. But it sounds like, that is gonna, until and unless I can talk to Michael and get, regular contact with him and make sure that is also happening with the gardeners. That's what it is.
I just want to question a couple of things I want to place in context. These are 9x4 plots. Not really big enough for power tools, right? Generally speaking, a 9x4 plot, we're talking maybe a doorway or something, maybe a little bit longer than a doorway, right?
It's not,
Yeah.
sorry, this is Tiffany, it's not the plot so much where people want to, it's around.
Yes.
It's the area around.
And again, I think that not just the liability, but then you get, I made a mistake and I trimmed down someone's corn stalks that was across the line, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I think there's a good reason for not having the plot owners run around with power tools, right? I think it's very clear. Question, didn't Michael's son come talk to us or somebody, someone came and spoke to us about the community gardens, and I thought he was
That was a man named Casey Brown. He is a gardener. He has a plot in the community garden. He's not related to Michael.
Okay.
He said a lot of things, but he definitely cares a lot about the garden, and and I would be happy to talk to Casey about being the alternate garden manager if that's something he's interested in.
Somewhere I think that, wasn't he like, he lives really, really close to us?
Michael is right next door.
Yeah. So.
Right there. Yeah.
All right. So we should know if something's happened, right? I mean, if he's in the hospital or if he's in.
He's a volunteer, just because he lives next to a city park and volunteers at a city park, there's been a couple of times that I've, the meeting that I had scheduled with him in December was, supposed to be at the garden, and I walked over to his house to see if he was there. He wasn't there. So I guess he did call me back after that and try to reschedule, and then we played phone tag for a little while, and then it fell off. And so, but in any case, I'm sorry, what was your question, Woodrow?
I just knew he was really close, and I was trying to understand some of the dynamic.
And that's what I mean. So he is our neighbor. So regardless of what happens with the future of Mr. McCrae, being the community garden manager, as long as he is, there and well, which I certainly hope he is, he will continue to be our neighbor, and so he will continue to be a part of it, one way or another. So.
And so was he selected because of his proximity or his engagement?
I believe he was involved. I mean, again, I wasn't here. This was so that the agreement, that I reviewed this the last time that he signed an agreement was in 2013. I don't know the exact year, and just for more history on the community garden, this was a project that I believe was born out of CAC. It never even, did not start in the Parks Committee. And has was always volunteer led, with the city's the city's involvement or sponsorship really just be providing a venue. You can see how these things sometimes creep into.
Absolutely, and that was my other point. Is Pepper Ann McAllister? She's not a Parks employee.
She's not a Parks. No, she's an admin employee. She's a city hall employee.
Yeah. So there's a couple other things we need to tweak on this whole project. Because even the Sunrise Park Community Garden webpage is not under Parks.
Well,
So it's under Public Works, and it says to contact somebody in admin, and then it says, hey, if you have any other questions, reach out to Citizens Advisory. So we really need to tweak some of this. Put it under Parks, put a park contact person, And if you have any questions, it's a project, it falls under parks.
I could be wrong, I don't wanna, I won't, I don't wanna make any comments about it, one way or the other. I believe that Pepper enjoys working on the community garden, and I don't think that we should necessarily say that that needs to be removed from City Hall. Also, it makes sense to have City Hall be the primary, point of contact for, for the public if they're registering for garden plots. And I suppose if we were to move the entire thing over to, say, Public Works and have Aaliyah, take over managing that, at that point, it's becoming even more of a permanent parks thing, so.
But I found out this week, when I called Leah, and I expressly asked her, throw a pencil at you. She couldn't do that.
Really?
She said she's in a different building.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty far to throw a pencil.
All right.
She's too nice to do that also.
This is Tiffany. My main concern with the contract that's gonna be going out, that people are gonna sign, is, so if a gardener for this year, because, just to clarify, the person who showed up last time, he had a plot last year. We won't know who has plots this year until they sign up, because it's a first come, first serve, stand outside City Hall, fill out the paperwork. But who's their point of contact? Are they calling Pepper Ann? Is she okay with that? And then is Pepper Ann contacting you?
I need to meet with Pepper Ann on this. What I'm essentially saying, right, you're absolutely right, and thank you for bringing this up, that you're talking about two different things. You're talking about the contract with the individual gardeners, right?
Yes.
The contract that I was discussing was the garden manager
Okay,
contract.
well, the contract that the individual gardeners get and are signing is one that I've seen.
Yeah.
And it has Pepper Ann's name all over it.
Yep, and we're
So if
gonna-
if a hose is broken, they're supposed to be contacting her and she contacts you?
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense, and so that does need to change. So I will make sure to talk to Pepper about this, and what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna strike Michael's contacts from that sheet just yet. I'm hoping that isn't the direction that this is heading, quite honestly. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add backup contacts and backup numbers, and mine will be one of them.
This is Tiffany again. I also think it's really important that somewhere in the contract that they sign, asking the gardeners if they're okay if their information is shared with each other. Because it's a community garden, they're supposed to be talking to each other, but they don't have each other, they don't know who has what plot. They don't know each other's names or phone numbers. It's unless you're go with a friend to sign up, that information is not shared amongst the gardeners. And so I'm curious if we can't add, are you okay sharing your information with the other gardeners? Because as just a member of this group and somebody who's always in the park, I've been really frustrated with the lack of engagement, or I don't know, the weeds, things that are happening there. And I tried to get the information of the gardeners so we could get them all here, and she did not feel comfortable giving their information out because it's not something they agreed to. So just between them, can they share each other's information? It could be a simple checkbox that's on that. Is it okay if we share your information with the other gardeners? So that after the fact, you've got a list of people, 19 people who signed up for 19 plots. They get an email with contact information. This is garden plot 1, this is garden plot 2 through 19. Name and a contact number.
It just name, contact, phone number, email, that's it. Because the thing that people are probably no, I don't want everybody to know my address.
No, they don't need to know. They're all going to the same garden. We don't need that information. Just a contact and a name would be good.
Okay.
On who's on what plot. And then if you go on vacation, you can call the plots on either side of you and say, hey, can you water my plot when I'm gone?
Yeah.
This is the community aspect of our garden that is missing.
Yeah. Well, and it also allows somebody to to step in as coordinator or alternate garden manager and be, I don't know, taking the lead on communicating necessary information into that.
So,
We'll make that change.
So what I've seen with other, highly successful community gardens, is that these aren't just areas for flowers and veggies. We come from a community where some people put up just beautiful fountains and waterfalls that would just, they trigger, when they're there, they would turn them on and have a little bit of a rustling water type effect and a very calming, meditative type experience in their plot. We also had one of them that was made, they had built this trellis and put a little bench in there. The whole setup was 2 years long in the making. It was like a wedding arch. He was making where he was going to get his pictures taken for his wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? So, I mean, I think that one of the things we might want to look at also is have a disclosure about taking pictures. Somebody's going to, somebody could very feasibly create a little park within the garden and a little sitting spot, an art installation perhaps. And this could be another draw to that area. And people take pictures, and maybe we need to add that to the contract so that, hey, is it okay if we have someone come and your plot could be in a picture? Are you okay with this? This is a public place.
Currently, this is Tiffany, currently it's locked. So only the people.
That makes it a little challenging.
Yeah, only the people that have a garden plot and pay for a garden plot get
Is
to go
that,
in there.
it's locked because there's expensive things in there?
Well, I mean, it takes money, you put money into your own
I
plot.
mean, if
Somebody stealing stuff, or?
I don't know.
Totally. If you walk by and see a bunch of, ripe tomatoes ready to go,
Yeah.
that's somebody.
I need to go visit.
Grapes are on the outside.
Does anybody have any more questions or comments for Jonah regarding the community garden?
I guess just before we go any further, I just want to say that while I know that I am frequently in here saying parks can't take any more work at our current staffing levels, and that is true. I truly believe that the community garden is like it's a community amenity that is worth saving and supporting, and if this if like this time next year, we don't have a volunteer-led solution in place, I cannot, I'm gonna go on the record right now and say, I can't guarantee that Parks is gonna take this over forever. But if what is needed is staff to just sort of carry the torch through a time when we don't know exactly what's going on with the volunteer manager, then we will do that.
All right, if that's it on the community garden, we will move on to our next item on the agenda. Number 6 is a review of the Parks Advisory Committee action items for 2026.
We don't have like a list of action items. I mean, I guess, Frank you had requested this agenda item, and, as we've discussed, I think that kind of our guiding light through a lot of this sort of stuff should be the 2023 master plan. And so if there are specific action items that you all have in mind outside of that, certainly I think that this is a good agenda item to sort of be like long-range forecasting the rest of our year, and just sort of like saying, okay, by this time in the year, this is something that we should be looking at. By this time in the year, this is something we should be looking at. I don't really have specific recommendations for that. That is up to you to decide. However, there are some mentions of things like that in this document. And one that immediately comes to my mind that is probably long overdue are the review of the 5-year capital project lists and the 20-year CIP project lists, and just running down those, seeing if what if those have been completed, what if those are yet to be completed, what are not going to happen, and what's not on what is not included in those project lists that are things that we want to see. So that's certainly something, and I believe that the master plan. I'm sorry I didn't find the page. I know I've seen it before, but the master plan does identify the parks committee as having a role in the review of those project lists. So that's something that I think should be looked at this year.
This is Frank. So with that in mind, I would recommend that we look at chapters 4 and 5, I think are the two major chapters in the master plan, as well as the capital projects 20-year strategic section, and then come back at the next meeting with our list as individuals of what we think should be, is action items the right term?
I mean,
I don't want to call them projects.
they're not projects, I guess action, yeah, why not? I mean, yeah, it's, I mean, these are things that, you know, I would say, I mean, action to me sounds like a vote, right? Like, you know, actually saying, this is what the committee says on this thing, right? But
Yeah, I have a hard time discerning, because like when I look at my meeting minutes, I take notes of what I would consider action items, like, hey, did we put up reflective material on the bollards down at Sharon Nesbitt? Yes, done, complied with, check. That was an action item for me, but it's not strategic.
those are action items for me.
Well,
Well, I think what this agenda item is talking about is what are your action
I
items?
think that I have to reframe that and go back to policy implementation, where I'm actually looking at potential action items that will lead to action, that will give you more work, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, this is the good work. I mean, this, you know,
I read chapter 4, I try and review chapter 4 and chapter 5 before the meetings, because it really is, when I decide where I'm going to put my efforts, that's what I use as my guide. So when it says, hey, we need to work on connectivity between parks, that's one of the areas I go, well, where am I looking at where I need connectivity? So that would be something I would use as an example. Whoever did this in 2023, I got to give them a shout out. It's really a great document. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it's really just how we do business. It really tells us how to get it done. And the fact that we're going to have to change some names. Things have Chuck Trails, I don't even think listed anymore. Or it's not even on here. It's listed as Sandy River Trail, I think. Anyway, so there's some things that need to be updated.
That's the Parks Master Plan you're referring to?
You're killing me.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. That's the one right here?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think, so that would just,
Oh, that's it.
thanks for highlighting.
Look at this, it's right here.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could spend, you know, we could also spend meetings just reading through this document if you guys want to, like, you know, if we all need a refresher.
I think those two would be, and then as Jonah recommended, it's like the big rocks are really your 5-year capital plan and your 20-year strategic plan. It's like, what do we got going right now, which we can't afford? What do we got going in 20 years, which we probably won't be able to afford either.
Right, but what those, I mean, well,
But we got to come up with a plan. I mean,
that is the list that, you know, remains year over year, like, you know, it's sort of like, it's bigger than any one budget cycle.
Yeah.
And so,
putting on a planning hat, it's important because that's how the process works. If you don't have it in your plan, it doesn't exist for funding. And that's why it's important for us to look at those items and make sure this is where we want to go. Make sense?
it does to me, yeah, so I think that's, you know, that's one, if there are any other specific goals, you know, I guess maybe rather than action items, maybe a better term would have been goals.
Yeah.
Specific committee goals, things that, you know, things that any of you all would like to see, you know, moving forward in 2026. You know, whether that be actually coming to action or coming to some sort of council recommendation, you know, is up to you. But I think that, and if we don't have that to discuss tonight, I think that this is almost kind of like a rolling agenda item that should be, you know, something that we continue to check back in on. I would like, you know, if it's helpful, I can set reminders to myself to be, you know, emailing you all throughout the month in between and saying, hey, let's, you know, I don't know, let's be getting our homework ready for, you know, for next month, like, you know. But I guess also it's just, you know, it's right here if you guys want to be looking at this stuff and be thinking about anything in here, you know,
in terms of your own, you know, feelings or priority about it, and if it's something that you want to, you know, be seeing happen in 2026, or making moves towards. So.
Does anybody have any comments online? Excuse me. All right, thank you. Something to keep in mind, goals for 2026 for next month, that would be great. Item number 7, future of Troutdale Skate Park with Tyler. I think he's gonna talk. Oh, wait, do we have somebody that wants to say something?
Tyler's online.
Tyler's
online.
here, and we
I
got,
will be presenting today.
yeah, we got Nick here also. And hold on a second here. I got your PowerPoint
Oh,
thing.
cool,
I'll
thank
get it
you.
here in a second.
Yeah, is it possible to open the slides link too? Because I think I had some video like embedded in it, so I didn't know.
Let me
Or if you downloaded it.
see what we got here. Yeah. That's what I meant, yeah, sorry.
Okay, cool, awesome, thank
I said
you.
PowerPoint. So.
Oh, no, it's totally all good. I just want to make sure, because I know that when you download it, like as a PDF, it won't do like the video link sometimes.
As long as my admin isn't blocking it for some reason.
Yeah, I think it should be good.
Okay. So, hold on one second now, I got it shared.
Oh, yeah.
I brought some materials as well too. Here's some zines, some magazines with like some Troutdale skate history and some Gresham skate history that that Tyler has developed. Here's like kind of a poster that we've been talking more about.
I saw that poster got put up at Sunrise Park, but our door blew off, and so I
Oh.
think a couple days later, it went with the wind.
Yeah, we got some Troutdale merch too for the skate park too that Tyler made a while ago. So a couple spring shirts.
Cool.
Nice.
Sorry, I use Microsoft, so I'm trying to figure out how to use your Google.
Oh yeah, I think if you just press the slideshow from there, it should be able to share.
Oh, yeah. Let's look into.
Slideshow there, okay.
Yeah, I think if you go there and then yeah. Or yeah. All right. So hi everybody, thank you for having me today. My name is like Nicholas Pelster. I've been like born and raised in Troutdale. I'm currently a resident. Like again, I lived in Portland for the last like 6 years though. But yeah, I'm also a student at Portland State University pursuing my Master's of Urban and Regional Planning right now. I also have a Bachelor's of Fine Arts from Portland State University and went to Mount Hood Community College like prior to that. But I'll talk more about my background, some of my work, but today I'm really here to present about the Troutdale like skate park and the future of it and possibilities to move it forward. So just a little background, I know probably some of you are familiar with the years of work that went on, maybe not others not so much too, so just wanted to go through kind of the work that went on. So really in 2015, 2016, Tyler, who's in this meeting, that some of you know, he's a local skateboarder and resident. He kind of presented his concept to the same group, and the skate park proposal was added to the city's capital improvement plan list. And so Councilor John Wilson, at the time a former skater, recommended adding the skate park to the capital improvement plan. And at the time, with the allocated budget of almost like $500,000, because that was the quote for the skate park at the time from Evergreen, which is a really big, like nice skate park builder that was working with Tyler at the time. So 2016, there's a front page article about the proposal in the Gresham Outlook, goes into 2018. So funding starts to be allocated for it, $10,000 for site analysis. That never really went forward, but kind of the money started to drop down from that initial allocation. In 2018, 2021, there's continued kind of discussions around it. There's like community engagement with Evergreen at the concession site stand at Columbia Park. So at the same time, Tyler opened up the skate park Eastside Rollins, Troutdale First Skate Shop, which was super amazing. Like when I was growing up, like we would have loved to have something like that. We had nothing like that. So shout out for Tyler for doing all that and developing all these kind of things and materials as well. So, and then that was when final designs were proposed for the Columbia Park site, which was kind of the spot for that. And then, so in 2023, the city adopts the updated Parks Master Plan, which accounts for the continued desire for a skate park or skate spot. So not just a main skate spot, but kind of like distributed little obstacles throughout the city, which would cost less. And then in 2015, with of course changing budget things, skate park funding is definitely cut due to budget shortage. So then really with my work and going back to school and all these things, really me and Tyler started to meet back up and really pursue these things and think about new concepts for immediate transformations of underutilized spaces in Troutdale. So we can go to the next slide to kind of show some examples of this. So this is Tyler's articles in 2017 at first. There's him with his daughter at the time at Gresham Skate Park, and whole article kind of talking about his work really kicking it off, and then another one in 2020 there with Tyler still pursuing it, kind of that time right before the final design was given. So Tyler's really been advocating for this, and people in the community are aware of this. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is the concept drawing from Evergreen Skate Parks. Actually, it's a super awesome concept, totally mocked up for the site there right outside of Reynolds. That would have been a dream back in the day. Being a Reynolds student myself, a graduate there, and my friend Dylan here as well too, went to Reynolds High School. So yeah, so here was the concept design, and this kind of just got left off at this point, just with all the things we kind of talked about. We can go to the next slide. So here's Eastside Roland. You might recognize this down by Glen Auto Park, the little building over there where Tyler had the skate shop in 2021 and 2023, sold all different kinds of accessories, decks, all things to really start out like skating. And like I said, this really kicked off a lot of new skaters in Troutdale and really brought a lot of skaters from Portland area, which has a huge skating community. Portland's known for skating out to Troutdale as well. So there's Tyler at Sweetbriar Elementary. That's where I went to elementary school, and that undercover area is pretty much the unofficial skate park of Troutdale. That's where everybody skates. Dylan can attest to that. That's where we spent more time than even my own house back in the day. So there's Tyler with his family there. So here's some events Tyler's been kind of throwing, kind of like activating the area on the 40-mile loop. You had a skateboard race with like 25 people that were just mobbing down the path, all racing each other. They've done some junk jams / activations at Sweetbriar as well, bringing out brands and companies. So he's really been doing some awesome stuff out here for the last like couple years. We can go to the next slide. So this is where we're at now. We kind of started a petition because these all accumulated into like, we're really trying to show that there's like a need for this again. So we kicked off this petition last month, and at the time, now we have 227 signatures, all people from the Gresham area, Fairview area, all people that would use this as well, because this wouldn't just serve Troutdale as well. This would really be like a destination and really bring people to the area. And as you can see, like, we're kind of framing this conversation around underutilized tennis courts, and I'll talk more about that too with my background. I have a little video to show you on some of my work. But so yeah, so that's Reynolds High School there. We can go to the next slide. Yeah, so these are some quotes from from the petition people have been filling out that have been really cool to see. So I live in Troutdale my whole life. I've been a skater for most of it as well. It would be incredible to see a park go up here. I know it would be popular too, just see. Troutdale has so many parks and nature areas for people to enjoy. We have an up and coming downtown and even disc golf courses. Why not add a skate park? Quentin Mueller wrote that. And Troutdale City Councilman Zach Andrews actually filled out the petition, wrote this too. He's a skater, and said, I'm glad to see excited community members engaged like this, and I'm thrilled about the prospect of a skate park in Troutdale. I still remember the feeling of dropping on my first half pipe as a kid. And he said too in his comment that, like, of course with changing budget things, you can't promise anything, but we'll put this kind of on his kind of like just like agenda as well too. So I've not talked to Zach yet, but I just thought that was an awesome quote, and really it was cool to see his support. So you can go to the next one. So I'll play this little video for you guys, and this is about a project. I'll give a little background. This is a project that I've taken on at Portland State University as a student at the time, and this video kind of just explains it. So I'll like let this play, and it kind of I've shared this with Frank and Jonah as well. So I think that this kind of gives some background to what could happen in Troutdale, but we can have a conversation after how this can apply to Troutdale. So I don't know if this sounds.
Like, oh, this is like the Portland Tompkins or something, and it's like, I see the similarities too. It's so funny with homies that will go to New York, or like homies that live here just go ski New York and like,
oh, it's okay.
We got the same way. It's so similar. And I'm just kidding.
You can turn the audio off and I can talk over it.
Oh, okay,
Exactly.
sorry.
Yeah.
Now you wanted the sound?
No. It's totally, no, I was gonna let that play, but I can just talk about it. So, okay, so this was so here's me, myself, kind of like talking about this. So this was an abandoned tennis court that was at Portland State University. And in 2020, skaters kind of took it over kind of just like unofficially at the time when there was nobody on campus. And it became like kind of like a DIY skate park. Ramps started to pop up. And in this part of downtown, there's no really skate park or anything kind of like in Troutdale. So people just like made a spot of their own, started bringing ramps. And it soon became a place where like pros would come, like all the companies started doing tours there, and it started to become like a spot that everybody was calling it the courts. And I reached out to the school at the time as a student and was like, hey, do you guys know about this spot? And they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. A skate park costs millions of dollars. And I'm like, no, there's a skate park right now happening that is bringing even people from like the Olympic team coming to skate here and things like that. So I talked to them about all those things, and then I got in contact with the campus planning office, who was really down for like how we took over the space and activated it. And this planner Liz there set me up with meetings with all the stakeholders around the spot, like the apartment building, manager from Chipotle across the street, a bunch of people from the school. And I met with them over 6 months to talk about all their concerns of safety, liability, like how we could really make this happen. Now the same thing with the garden, where it's like there's a coordinator as part of it, and I was kind of in that coordinator role. But then with these projects, there's a lot of other people that you can get to make work. So here's some of the ramp quality at first you'll see, where it's ramp made by the community, but they often fall apart, kind of have like bad quality. But at the time I reached out to this local nonprofit, Skaters for Portland Skate Parks, and they gave us $7K to redo the ramps. So we used all the ramp materials there, but put this stuff Skate Light on them, which is this weatherproof material, and we fixed up the ramps. We did like a mural day. We worked with PSU to paint 18 different murals in the space. And after we did that mural day in 2021 and we got the pilot project for 6 months, it really changed opinions. We started building all the ramps, fixing them up. Like there was, here's some footage of Ben Moore. We have professional builders. That's something to think about, not letting anybody using power tools, but letting professional bonded builders, professional artists paint there as well, students, involving community members, pro skaters, just a bunch of different people. So this is like the courts model, where it's kind of a model of like PSU was scared. They're like, we don't want concrete. We don't want that. It costs a lot of money. And I'm like, no, what we're doing is modular. It can be moved. This was a pilot project that was for a year that was supposed to end, and then it went on for 4 years. And the thing is, they actually, why we did this is because they were building a new art building for PSU on this site. So we were just waiting until development happened. And that happened in 2024. They started building the art building. And then to my surprise, PSU was like, we have another site for you guys to take on. This undeveloped lot that Prosper Portland is going to build housing on. They're letting us use that site for the next 5 to 10 years, and we applied for a grant to Prosper Portland and got a $300,000 grant to develop a new skate park at Portland State. So it's like, it's something where it's like this model can start small. It doesn't need to start super big, but that's when you see at this point, this is one of the most famous skaters in the world. You guys can get that's like P-Rod. He came to the courts even when it was in that DIY kind of in-between state. But when he came, it like changed everything and validated the spot by how he uses social media. And he posted this clip on social media, it went viral. And even important ones like, oh my, like P-Rod came to the spot. It's like having Jordan come to the spot. He has multiple pro shoes on Nike. So it's like those kind of associations of bringing economic development and opportunity to the city as well through these sites. So yeah, so we can go on to the next slide too. But yeah, so this video, we can share that with you guys too. If you want to watch that more, it talks more about it. But so that model is totally in with PSU and with the school and those kind of things. And I was like, how do we move forward in Troutdale? So kind of with me and Tyler's idea is using like the tennis courts, or even Reynolds High School themselves, maybe collaborating with the high school, thinking of partnerships through my nonprofit, Skaters for Portland Skate Parks. We're a 501c3 that helps develop skate parks and things like that. Like grants, like through like Metro grants and other opportunities as well that we could apply for. But of course, it's like community driven. It's just getting the partnership is a main thing, even for the community organizations and people, to then just that city support where it's like just the location and handing out that okay, and then almost like that trust that needs to build. But that's how we built the trust in 4 years, is like those kind of things and relationships. So Tyler's been building that trust here as well in Troutdale. So I think that's why it has such great base, where in Portland, it's like I went into that skating community that has built trust for a long time and learned so much. So that's kind of what we're bringing to this as well, and bringing like a pilot program where it's like we could start a project or do something that can be studied after the year. It's like it doesn't need to be finalized. A big concrete thing like before is going to be there forever and be there for hundreds of years and cost millions of dollars capital project, where it's like I think that we can move in a direction that's more like the community garden, those kind of stewardship models where these projects can move forward with funding, or people are doing these things themselves and can be in an organized, safe manner, where it's like for the new site at PSU, we didn't have an agreement for legal, but for the new site, we had to work with lawyers over the past like year and a half to do like the 18-page agreement that talks about liability, how the ramps will be managed. But that's like things that I can bring to this project as well, as switching those into Troutdale's like language and with like working with lawyers or all those kind of things to cover the dots, because working with PSU has been a lot of things of like learning to work with an entity like a city and things like that. But the city is different as well too. That's like an institution. So yeah, it's kind of the presentation. Sorry to ramble about a bunch of things, but that's kind of, yeah, but yeah, so yeah, really just looking to try to move this forward and see how the Parks Advisory Group could help, or any other ideas you guys have moving it forward. I think that, yeah, just we got connected with Frank and met with Frank, and he's been supportive and super awesome, and just we're super down to work together and see what we can do. So, yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for Nick? Woodrow?
Hi, Woodrow, Troutdale. Is there anything like this existing right now, other than at PSU? And what would be the closest to Troutdale?
Closest to Troutdale, it's kind of like these more DIY parks exist in Portland a lot of the times. We have a bunch of open space. Like in Portland, there was the courts. There's also like interstate DIY, which is underneath the interstate bridge. There's also like Da Vinci Middle School, there was a big skate park that pops up every single summer and people go to it. So it's kind of like in those more urban areas too.
20 miles maybe?
Yeah, oh yeah, super far, where it's like, I think a good example is Tyler can say this too, is like there's a skater kid like Nico, and like he lives like right by Troutdale Elementary. He goes all the way out to Commonwealth Skate Park on the bus, or has a friend drive him, or he'll get out there any way he can every day, because that's like the closest good park to go to where his community is, where it's like, but people from Portland go out to Sandy Park. They go to all these other parks or destinations where they will come out to other parks or want to skate different things. So it's like, yeah, I think that for accessibility for like kids, it's like there's nothing even close, where it's like me back in the day, we can speak to this, like Gresham Skate Park is still far to hop on the bus and go all the way there. And that skate park started that's an example too, where they had a big idea to do it in 3 phases. They only completed phase 1, never finished the rest, and then shut the project down. So it's like, that example didn't work. And even the skateability on accessibility, I think the courts too, I didn't really talk about this, but that skate park was good because it was on flat ground. It was super accessible we did lessons with Skate Like a Girl. They teach 5-year-olds to skate, and then there's pro skaters coming. So it's that accessibility where people think you need to make this huge skate park, but that actually doesn't get activated and is actually really unsafe. And that's where people are gonna hurt themselves, where the courts, nobody hurt themselves. It's super low impact, and that's why it can work in these ways. So I think that having something like this, like it's more of like going out to Portland and Gresham. There's like been some new skate park developments, so like Park Lane and things like that too. They've been super awesome too, but even those are super far for like any kid or people even driving.
So you said there's one down in Sandy?
Oh, well, yeah. So there's a new skate park in Sandy, a huge like development they did at the park there, but that's like a state of art huge, like probably costing millions of dollars. But that's also a great example of where a pilot project can go in the future, where Sandy did have a skate park for years that was like the worst one ever that we used to go to all the time too out there. But then they got a new skate park because there was a skate shop out there, community, and they had people that kind of supported it too. But that took a long time as well. So I think it's a long game with this stuff too. But I think it's about like starting those activations and getting something going is important. And like that's what the courts like. It was simple, and then it got so supported just because people saw really what it could be at that point. And I think I didn't even know it too at the time. I was like, wow.
So the one in Sandy, is that a private or public one?
It's public. That's the thing, is there's not really too many private skate parks. There's no indoor skate parks. There's no covered skate parks. And that's another thing about this is like covering spaces. That's not even thought. I think about lighting spaces. There's no lit skate parks. So just from an accessibility standpoint, like those are really things. But of course, those cost money, and think about permits. That's even like with the project, with the new thing we're doing, we're not able to do like lighting and other things. We're pursuing grants for lighting, but even with our $300K, that's a lot to cover concrete and permits and all that stuff already. So it's like that's already getting eaten up anyways. But
And what's the next one to the east? Is there anything in the Dalles or?
Yeah, so there's Hood River Skate Park in the Dalles, which is like destinations. So that's the thing, is like Tyler's thing is like the Skateway to the Gorge, where then people stop in Portland, they go out, they'd go to the Troutdale Skate Park, they would go out then to Hood River and the Dalles, Bingen. It's because I'm even a skate camp counselor with Commonwealth Skate Park, and we do
Bingen has a skate park.
Yes.
Little Bingen has a skate park.
Oh, and it's awesome there. Yeah. And people love Bingen Park. Like all the kids are like, let's go to Bingen, because like we take like 15 kids out in the van like during the week in the summer to skate camps, and they'd be like, we want to go here. We like go to like Vernonia. They have a skate park, the small little town of Vernonia. They have an awesome skate park. That drives so many people to come to that town. The parking lot's full in the summer. it's insane. And, but also like they made that project happen too in a really, really small town as well. So yeah, there's like some cool projects, but out here, like there's nothing, like even right here being, like I'm happy to go to Portland to skate. Like all of my friends are like, oh, let's go to Interstate. Like people love DIYs too. That's the thing is like you can move these objects, they change all the time, where a skate park is stagnant. It stays the same, where these modular things, you can move around, you can experiment, you can make mistakes. It's okay. You can build a new thing and take out this thing. You can move this ramp up so a little kid can go down it. And a big skate park, it's like a scary drop in. Like I think you have to go in is always going to be that unless you get to that skill level. So I think these parks can build the basis for pros to come and new learners to come as well. So.
I think the use of paved spaces like a court somewhere. I mean, it's on a city-owned court. I guess there are neighbors. There are a lot of considerations. I do like the idea of the Reynolds High School courts that are on the corner of Cherry Park and 257th right there. Of course, that's not city property. We have no jurisdiction, and I can't say if that's going to be something that you could do there or not, Victoria. But
A few years back, we approached Reynolds about pickleball.
no, they said no.
No, Mr. Cochran.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure they might still have a tennis team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've talked to them. They could have changed, but
Yeah, so I know the principal, Michael Anderson, and and then I know a few teachers there as well. My friend's actually partners one of the teachers there, and I know the art teacher. So kind of the idea was to like see what the Parks Council thought of this, but of course that's what we know with like that spot is not owned, of course, and that's what the school, but that's the kind of thing where it'd possibly be an agreement. But that's also why that site's hard, where then it's like they might not want to do those things, but you could work with the wood shop class, you could work with the art class to do murals and paint the ramps and those kind of things. So it's more like pitching the idea to them, but also with the support of the council and or parks, like to move that forward. I think that's what helped Michael Anderson, because I brought that up to him and he's like, oh, that sounds awesome, but I think that it's about bringing a plan to them as well. That's kind of what we're developing, and just bringing this is like where we're at right now. So just any like recommendations you guys think. And I think with pickleball too is like maybe they didn't see how that could integrate the kids as much, where I think with this, like this is really youth focused as well to try to get them in. So I think that maybe that was maybe their thoughts on it, that pickleball, of course you can still play pickleball, but I think that it's a varying age range in that, in like the users of pickleball court compared to skate parks. But I think skate parks have, so.
If we could identify a location, I certainly think that the modular idea is the other thing that is great about that is it's a really great placeholder to, like you mentioned, sort of like beta test this Troutdale skate park, get some observable data on like, okay, what impact does this have on the community?
Yes.
And while still keeping keeping it alive,
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's really cool the work that you've done at PSU with that. I think it's clearly it's a ton of work and a lot of organization, and it's like I think it would be a cool thing in Troutdale. So I think that I guess it's just identifying locations where that is a possibility, and so that's I think maybe a larger conversation, but certainly one I'm happy to continue with you.
Is there any sites you guys know of that are, but is there any sites you guys know of that are current, like, underutilized tennis courts or things that you guys, like, don't have tennis nets up on purpose, or those kind, I know that's, like, some of the states of, like, Kiku or like, Llewellyn or like, Whedon or things like that, where it's, like, even at Whedon.
Llewellyn is probably the most used tennis court.
Yes, for sure, yes,
Whedon is probably the least used tennis court.
Yeah, but the neighbors.
Kiku, I believe, is basketball, not tennis, but
Yes.
And actually, I did just recently get some news about the structural state of the Kiku basketball courts, and there was at least a contractor recommended a full replacement of them, which is not in the cards anytime soon. But that does beg the question. I mean, what kind of impact does daily skateboarding have on a court surface? That's I mean, I imagine that it's not something you want to do on a freshly painted tennis court that you just paid to have painted, right? But if one is the paint is pretty spent already, then doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's kind of why it works at that point, because it's like a older tennis court where it's like the newer one. I don't think it's like you'd paint the tennis court perfect to make it a skatable thing, but it's more like think about the underutilized spaces or how those are more like concrete, kind of the paint is almost gone.
It does seem like we'll find a site that has perhaps transit access and parking, and I worry about Kiku for those reasons. It's pretty tight in there.
Yeah, that's why Reynolds works for so many good ways. It's like, it's visibility, it's transit access, it's student access, it's like, it has parking, but also that's part of the school's parking lot. So there's a lot of like things around that as well, where it's like a high school, it's way different than a college campus. I think that's too, where I think the question was like, how does this model work in Troutdale? Where it's like, will it work with a high school? Maybe if there is somebody there, like a couple teachers like we're trying to get to really spearhead it, then yes, I think if we get students like we're trying to get like behind this as well, I think that's how this work goes on and how I kind of got it forward as well. So I think that's where we can beat the resistance a little bit. But I think too, the concerns of noise are totally valid and all those things. Like we don't want to disrupt anything, but also realizing that like these spots aren't used and are assets to Troutdale residents for urban recreation, and there's not opportunities. So do we want kids running in the street? Because that's what we used to do, just skate in the street or skate in downtown Troutdale on like this, like kind of like stairs in front of the old police station. Like it's like it's gonna become down to damaging property or other things, where it's like that's kind of the other thing about having a dedicated space for this too, so that people don't start using other things as well too. So thinking about kind of those things as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So I'm sitting here struggling to think of a park that is in the current inventory that has a site that makes sense or that stands out as a
For sure.
great spot. But I like your concept you all did down at PSU, where you partnered with PSU, which had open paved lots that were just waiting for something else.
Yeah.
I gotta think there might be some of that out here as well. Like think about Mountain Community College and a lot of pavement out there that perhaps is used as much anymore. Other places too. Yeah. So it might be worth kind of looking at those kinds of concepts.
I hate industrial space down by the airport or something.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, Frank. Tiffany, if you want to call people, I think you need to do your job.
That was Jim, by the way.
Sherry's hands up. I just wanted to make sure she gets recognized.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. Jim a little bit stole it because I was wondering if there's a possibility if like the Reynolds tennis courts couldn't work, if Mount Hood Community College might have some space on it. Otherwise, I was just thinking that you said you went to Reynolds. Did Reynolds at that point, was the tennis team using those courts, or were they going to the old Reynolds, the middle school, to use the courts?
Yeah, even back then they were going to Reynolds to use them. Like I have not seen since I graduated in 2015 and I started there in 2011. So yeah, I have not seen the tennis team play there, and they play it at like Reynolds Middle because they have like the 8 courts spread it all next to each other there. So they even drive all the way. So I don't think that that's why I think too, but I think that they're fully in the right to be like, we just want to keep that underused too as well, if that's an option. So I think that that's the thing is like, we're gonna like, it's underused, but also that's not a public asset, that's a school's asset as well. It's not like the same thing about the parks being underused, like the other tennis courts or basketball courts, so.
Well, yeah. But Reynolds High may have a much different reaction to an alumni coming with a very well thought out project than they did to the city approaching them asking about pickleball. That's maybe very different.
And I think both, like that's the goal is like if this group or Troutdale itself feels supportive enough to be like, we would want to partner on this, then it could be a Troutdale park at Reynolds, and then just like at Columbia Park in the future, I guess that's I guess that's the city of Troutdale's land there at like the like soccer field where that was proposed at, but still it's going to be at the other side of Reynolds. So even thinking about how a skate park is going to get integrated with the high school, but there is a great example of this at Glen Haven High School. There's a skate park right next to the school in Portland Park. So there's only one right outside of Concrete Park. It's fine. People park there. Examples. We can talk to the principal there. I think that there's case studies.
I actually go to that park frequently. That's in my neighborhood, and I walk my dog there frequently. And yeah, I can tell you, I haven't seen a whole lot of crime or nefarious activity. It's mostly little kids on scooters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that that's the kind of model where then those questions come up where it's like, how would that work? And it's like, it does work, but it's totally new. So it takes somebody there to really accept it or move it forward. But I think that we have some good puzzle pieces to kind of piece this together, so.
Okay, I just wanted to finish up this, Sherry. The reason why I like the Reynolds part especially is because that extra piece you said about getting them involved in, wood shop, making ramps, all that kind of stuff, because I think that can create an extra buy-in in today's economy and what's going on, with different cuts going on. Kids being, in a class and actually being engaged in such a way that they care about something, and that being so close to their school that they care about what happens to it, so that they're more likely to take care of it. So that whole piece, as an educator, I love that part. Again, I think that, I'm sure there's a way to sell it, maybe in their budget crunch right now that they're going through, there might be no ability for them to buy in with money. But if you can get a grant or something, I think that could be highly persuasive. And I'd be more than willing to come on with you if you're going to testify in front of their school board or something to say, yeehaw, I like the idea.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah.
I would say also that Counselor Carol Allen works at Reynolds High School, and perhaps would be a good person to discuss your thoughts on this with.
Jim?
So this is Jim. This is probably pie in the sky, maybe not a good idea, but do you remember the lumber yard on 82nd?
Yeah.
Pike Park?
It was right across from
It was open
Glenhaven.
for 10 years, 2012 to 2022. Makes me think of the old Safeway.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have year-round indoor, facility there, but again, big dollars.
Yeah, I think it's that thing with like the kind of like model where it's like the indoor skate park model is something that is even went on in Troutdale. There used to be back-to-back skate park, which was like right off the kind of freeway over there, like the industrial area, and that was a big indoor park as a kid. I like barely remember going there, and I was super young starting skating, but those models are hard too to just like kind of, it's just like a business at that point too. So I think that like I think that that's totally needed and would be super awesome. I think that that's a little separate too, but that's like, it would be a dream. An indoor skate park is like the dream. And also in the future, like hopefully can pursue things like that and open up a business. That's like a goal of mine, is like open up a skate shop or a business. Kind of like Tyler did. It's super awesome to like build community through those things, so.
So, sometimes I come up with ideas that aren't well thought out or very well reasoned either, so this may be one of those. But how can you tie in skateboarding at the Olympics to this proposal? Can you bring in the discipline of being on a sports team, and use that to sell Reynolds?
I think that's what we did at PSU a lot, because it was like, it's like we had the women's Olympic team come and do a demo, like a demonstration at our thing, and we're signing autographs, and it was in Thrasher magazine, the most famous skateboard mag, and that was because they just need spaces to come to and activate. So I think that's the thing, is like, I know pro skaters personally, we like even Jacob here as well, we could get people and community out here as well to come out here and activate the site, where it's like, that's for some people are gonna be like, oh, a pro skater, that's what Reynolds might need to hear to understand. Because also skating is a really deep culture with people care a lot. It's down to like people's clothes, everything. It's like people care a lot about this, and there's hundreds of thousands of people over the world that would come, even come to Portland, travel there as a skateboard destination. There was the big Rockstar contest here as well that came here this summer that activated the whole waterfront. So it's like Troutdale could have demonstrations and skate parks and demos and things like that just as easy, and because people need spaces to activate. People want to come to communities like ours and get people excited. That's how they activate their businesses and things as well, or just keep the culture going, so.
And the point I want to emphasize, maybe, again, because sometimes I spit stuff out that doesn't work out so well, is the transition from selling Reynolds on the skate park to their consumers.
Yeah.
You're going to use this to create producers of new magazines and new clothing lines. You're not using the skateboard to have the participants buy the things that already exist.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You want to expose them to the skate park so that they become producers and they create their own, they become creators and not consumers.
I think it's kind of that thing of like all the skate clips you saw, like that was the thing about the courts, like we ran a page where I have an Instagram page. People would go there and post their clips every day and tag the page, and they want to be reposted. It's kind of like a thing in skateboarding where you go to a spot and you want to get a clip. So if there was a Troutdale skate park, we would make a page, people would be posting, tagging us, and that's what I do with that interstate DIY. It's a DIY under the bridge. There was 7 clips today, people from all over tagging videos, like making art, doing stuff down there, like, so it's like, it's an art creation thing as well through skateboarding. If people are gonna make clothes, like, I'm from Troutdale, we started a skate brand in 2018. We did that for 5 years, did a bunch of kind of like events, sold skateboards, and that was all through me and my friends hanging out at Sweetbriar. So it's like, that's the thing, is like, we made that out of nothing. But I think too, is like Tyler, the skate shop, a skate park, that would really send people into this other thing of seeing there's opportunity to express yourself through recreation, through art, and just like, even like community building. You'll meet all your friends that I've had through skating my whole life through these experiences. So I think that that's the benefit of this too. It's not just like, oh, skate park. It's like, this is a place that people make lifelong memories here in Troutdale or want to stay in Troutdale for those reasons as well too, so.
If I could hop in for a sec. Yeah, I think one of the things that skateboarding brings that's really special is it's almost kind of an anti-sport in the sense that like sports have a lot of rules and you fit into something that already exists. Whereas skateboarding is really what you make it. Like there's a whole discipline called slappies where people just like roll up onto curbs and people love it. That's a whole art form in its own. And then on the same note of like creating creators as opposed to consumers, I can't even count the number of just local Portland little like zines and projects there are going on. So I think having that kind of space that exists similar to sport but isn't right in that same pocket brings something pretty special.
Excellent.
There's certainly an economic development and tourism angle to the whole thing, and at a certain point, hopefully, this gets off the ground. That's something that Marley Boxler should be looped into and would I'm sure be interested in. You mentioned Hood River. You guys talk about Portland a lot, but I mean, and that's just, I think it demonstrates that there is a regional aspect to things like this: skateboarding, snowboarding, mountain biking. People are moving around here all over, between the mountain and Hood River and Troutdale and Portland and Vancouver to do these things. And Troutdale is right kind of in the path of all of that.
Yeah, no.
So.
This is Tiffany. I just want to make a suggestion. When you guys go to Reynolds and you talk to people there, they have all kinds of after-school clubs. Is there a potential that you guys could get approved as volunteers and head up a skateboarding club? And then those skateboarders could utilize the courts for that time frame, and that's something that would be a school. My other question is, you guys, in the video, you talked about the pop-ups that you would do at Sweetbriar. Were those approved by Sweetbriar, or were they like, do it and get forgiveness? Like, you didn't ask permission, you just brought your stuff there and did it because there was nobody there to tell you not to?
Yeah, so on the first thing, yes, so and even there's especially groups kind of on the partnership, so there's this nonprofit push movement that even has a deal with Portland Public Schools, and I've talked to them about this idea too, and they're even trying to expand where they're going to other districts, but they do after-school skate club programs with schools just like that, where they go and hang out, they buy pizza for them, they go to the skate park, and they kind of just like, it's just like a mentorship kind of thing as well too, but that could totally develop at Reynolds, or there's a bunch of nonprofits already doing that work, like Skate Like a Girl. They do pretty much like lessons on Saturdays at skate parks free. They're bringing even equipment. You can be brand new off the street and learn how to push and ride even that day. And it's for anybody.
I think working with them, going we want to do a club at your school and get kids involved so that the community can see that there's a need and there's a group that would be interested and take part in it.
Yes, that's true.
That would be a good starting point to get them to buy into it more, because you guys are right, it's just sitting there not being used. And if it's something that they could use with their students that are already there that exist, because we don't have any say over what they do over the tennis courts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, that's why it's so hard. And I think on the second note of Sweetbriar, I think that was the thing, is like Sweetbriar, like it just gets left in the custodians there or after school, and like we've never been kicked out of Sweetbriar, and I think we just brought the ramps or been there for years. I think that it's just kind of okay there, people understand in a way, but yeah, I think with Tyler, I don't think he met any resistance with the ramps and things like that too. So I think that like, even Troutdale, like I haven't met super people that are pissed about anything, like in my, like skating here, I think people are pretty understanding there. There's a bunch of kids and people around too, so I think that, yeah, it's not like super like we're going against super bad people that are like, like skateboarders are bad and stuff like that. I think that like people are open to it here a little bit too, which is cool, so.
I like the idea of pop-up events, maybe not something that stays in place. If you could just like utilize a tennis court at a park for a weekend or something, like making it just happen for an event and you can get people involved. And again, that might be, I mean, that would be going through parks and asking for permission first.
Or even over the summer, Reynolds was an idea too, where like during the school year might be tougher, but it's like, what about June through August, even as a pilot program, and just seeing, or even May, work with the students and then do some murals, like paint the ramp, simple thing with our students, have it go through the summer. Oh, is parking really a big issue? Oh, did anybody break into the school? No. Did anybody burn down the school? No. It's like, that was the concerns at PSU too, when I met with the stakeholders for 6 months, and then we met weekly, checked in with them, the skate park was going on. Like, I think the people are ready to meet and be like, we'll take responsibility for this too as well, where the people are like, oh, it just happened, and then no one really knows, where it's like, I think skateboarders are now stepping up to be the contact people, or even like at this meeting, like, I didn't know Jacob was coming here, but it's awesome that he supports and comes to kind of like to support this work and move it forward, you know, too. I think that's kind of the strength of our community as well, too, so.
Is there, is there any opportunity for a recreational activity, a formalized one, be part of Troutdale, so that, you know, we can put something on the books and we can have some dates and some locations, and so that they're.
A skating activity?
Yeah, big scale, yeah, from a recreation perspective.
Not currently, no. I mean,
Is
if
there
there was a place where
opportunity
people
for-
skate, then I think that, you know.
I think that's where the opportunity of the collaboration is, where it's like the collaboration isn't asking right now directly for funds, but it's like asking for support for a skate event demo, so that when we do that, it gets posted on social media, and skaters even see, wow, Troutdale supports like the skate park, like kind of be in the comments where they were like, Troutdale, like even the residents like want Troutdale to support that. So I think that buy-in with PSU, they did that, they support us. Now people, even skaters are starting to go to PSU and become students because they see that they support even them as well too. So it's kind of that connection where I think the city thing is like a partnership, just showing support in ways that aren't often based in money and more just being like, we can speak about this project and know what's going on. Everyone feels comfortable about it. Otherwise it'd be like, oh, that's going on, I don't really know what's up for the garden. Thing is like, it's kind of like hard to have the contact, but like that's the thing that comes up too with projects as well too. But I think with this, like there's nonprofits too that can put their name on paper, where at first it was an agreement between Nicholas Pelster and PSU. Now for the next thing, it's Skater Sport and Skate Parks and PSU. It has to be with the nonprofit. I think that this agreement too with Reynolds would probably need to be with the nonprofit. It can't be with me, or it'd be like a Skater Sport and Skate Parks, Troutdale, like City of Troutdale and Reynolds in a three-way partnership, and everybody knows their role, even if the role is super simple. It's just that we're stating that we're in a partnership together and moving a pilot project forward. It's kind of the basis of the pitch.
So Jonah, how would we kick that off to have something on the recreation activities list?
Yeah.
So we have that as a pin.
You would have to discuss that with Molly King, and because I don't.
It's not his purview.
Yeah, I don't write the recreation. I support recreation whenever possible, certainly whenever those events take place in parks. But that is Molly King's creation and responsibility. But I would say that the step one would be having a place in Troutdale for people to skate, and then looking at a formalized recreation. Course would be somewhere along the line after that. I've heard much more support for a skate park in Troutdale than resistance to it. I would say certainly there are folks who are not supportive, but from what I can tell, those were mostly folks who were concerned about the location at Columbia Park. The real issue is money, and that's I think that if
if we had the money to, you know, be able to,
Never done it before.
direct towards these large capital projects, like, and I gotta hand it to you and Tyler, I mentioned this to Tyler, getting a project like this even like into the budget in the first place was no small feat.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I commend you guys for not, you know, not giving up on it.
Oh, it was all Tyler before, shout out Tyler.
Yeah. And so this conversation, I think, is sort of the beginning of you know, of a sort of a bridge concepts, you know, to a more, you know, hopefully someday will be a more permanent skate park in Troutdale, if that's something that the city can fund and is something that, you know, we find a location for that neighbors are supportive of. And so,
What do you feel comfortable with like us pursuing grants and things like that as well with like the Tony Hawk Foundation? I think that that's kind of the question too, is like with that collaboration is more just like, even with PSU, like that's the thing about the buy-in from the other parties, like they do nothing, but then it's like well, of course they give us land, give us like those kind of things, but it's more like we applied for that grant and we got the grant from Prosper, but like PSU worked with us to apply, but I wrote the whole grant proposal.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with like the Tony Hawk Foundation, at the end of the month, you can send email pitches for like, for kind of like rough grant proposals, but that's something where it's like, I don't know if we can start pursuing or reaching out about those things, about just in general about our ideas and things about like, like the parks, we've been talking to Parks Advisory and Park Council, and they like support this or those kind of like things to support grant, or how would we be able to like support grant work or things like that, if there's any ideas you guys have.
I would say the grant funding behind a project like this would make it a lot more attainable and palatable to the policymakers who you know, make the calls around the budget. I guess let's talk about the timing. I guess that, you know, because of many grants require, there's certain, you know, budgetary steps that you have to take, right? Like if there's a certain amount of match that is required or something, then you must include that in your municipal budget, like, you know, with an asterisk that says if grant funded, right? Because the you know, the people who are awarding the grant need to see a commitment to
of course,
meeting the match, right?
Yes, of course, if it's one like that. I think that most of the other ones aren't match-based, for at least like the Tony Hawk Foundation, it's more just direct grants up to like 50K or something. So it is a smaller grant that could fund like smaller concrete features or things like that too. And the Tony Hawk Foundation is more like concrete funding things too, which is just like, it could start a basis of funds in the future if it's like public fundraising and things too.
But any amount of grant funding is certainly going to strengthen your case. And so and I'm happy to talk to you about that in greater detail, you know.
All right, cool, thank you.
Woodrow or Victoria?
Lady first.
If you get Reynolds on board,
Yeah.
when we opened our community garden, we got Home Depot to donate wooden things to build all our beds.
Oh, oh, wow.
So you can maybe get a Home Depot and Lowe's and other places that you need things, and they may donate it, especially if you're doing it to Reynolds.
I think that's where the partnerships get really strong, where then it's like Par Lumber, heard you're working with the city of Troutdale and like Reynolds on this, and it's like, that's how the buy-ins were, even the court, it's like Prosper, we applied for that grant, we didn't think we were gonna get the 300K. I was like in tears when we got that, because I was like, this is insane, like, but it was like, because they saw the support, and also the kind of project knows that it affects so many people, and Reynolds is the biggest high school in Oregon. Like,
And
so
then
many people.
put up their banner thing like they do at baseball.
Well, no, I mean, that's almost how he saw it, is like, even with the things, like, I have a couple of friends have local businesses, like, he has like, he does like fire alarms, but he wanted to donate to the projects, like, it can be like that kind of thing too, even to like start out with smaller things, where it's like, it might just be a few obstacles and a big opening day, but there could be 200 people out there and a food truck and all this thing to kick it off, and kind of have an event with it and show the possibilities of how you could activate on the weekend, even if it's like, that's what Reynolds wants, if they're like, no events or those things, or only a summer activation or those things. But I think a big thing is about the space. I think that we just need to, I mean, like myself as a Troutdale resident, we know the parks and things like that too, so it is hard to think about location. But yeah, any ideas anybody have in the future about like, yeah, just like locations or things?
Woodrow?
Woodrow, Troutdale. So I think this is a great idea, right? And I think that you're gonna get a lot more people who think it's a great idea if you have some positive pictures demonstrations of success. You know,
He had a whole PowerPoint.
I know he did, I know he did, but what I wanted, and I saw the zine too, and it was really good. Can I use the word? I'm too old to use zine.
So uncool.
But the point I'm saying is that, and you do some pop-up parks, right? Where you bring the stuff in, or you build the stuff, and you get the kids here, you get people coming in from the other communities from a regional perspective. It's a lot of positive, interaction. You get, who's this counselor? Is it Zach or?
Zach.
Yeah, Zach shows up and watch him get on some of that stuff. That'd be awesome. Jonah.
I can't skate.
Dude, if you do a pop-up, I will skate.
Do you get stand on the skateboard?
I will do it. I will do it at the risk of breaking a hip.
I'll try, we'll try.
But what I'm saying is that it's show.
Yeah, for sure.
Demonstrate,
No,
show it,
I think
right?
that's a
And
big
these are, the merch is great, the zine was great. And, I'm behind the project. We need to build critical mass, get more people excited.
Oh, no, for sure.
Have lots of pictures, 'cause old people like pictures, and,
I agree.
I just want to raise my
Frank?
hand. Get him quiet. This is Frank. So when are you going to Reynolds, Steve? When are you going to have the Reynolds School Board?
I think we've just been strategically, I've been reaching out to a few teachers and kind of just seeing what they think and other teachers that are supporting. So we kind of have a rough list right now, but that's why I don't know whether to go to the principal, if that's not really Michael, I feel like he might just be not really the kind of I don't think he is the decision maker really for that as much as a support person. So I think we need to identify who at the district, if not the head superintendent or some board that we have to present the idea to as well. So I think that
Reynolds School Board is the entity that you're going to have to deal with.
yes.
So figure out that date and then start looking at all your partners that you're pulling in,
Yeah.
and then let's get the ball.
I think we really started here and then just to see what was.
Without the location, we're just spinning our wheels.
Oh, for sure, all day, yeah.
Get that analogy?
Try to look at potential avenues as well, not outside of parks. I don't know if that's city-owned property or, public works type of stuff, as long as it's not super secure or something, but I'm just trying to think if there's any other open type of lot areas that.
Oh, I got some industrial spaces we could utilize. 257th Way, right by Sharon Nesbitt.
Yeah.
The back road that's paved. There's
Yeah.
nothing going in
It's
there.
asphalt though, not concrete, right?
It's asphalt. It's not concrete, and it's not terribly smooth, so it's not the best spot.
I think that one, just from a visibility, safety perspective, is kind of hard, but hopefully it would activate it, but then it's just a little hard, but behind there at that one, I think that with the Sharon Nesbitt Trail, that's really changed that area and even got so many more people on there, so it kind of has me thinking of that, but also just thinking about if I was a 10-year-old going down there, I think the people would be
It does
oh.
tie in with a potential bike park too, so.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting, location and digging down by Sharon Nesbitt.
But I think you're spot on with the location that you're shooting for right now is
Yeah.
Reynolds. Yeah.
It could totally get shot. I think that's the thing too. It could totally get shot down for many valid reasons. Of this is it has precedence. I think we're trying to grow those with schools and things too. So it's we have a basis for this, but it isn't. Yeah, it's been done, but not the Reynolds district. So I think that we just gotta really sell it to them. But I think those pictures and the examples and things kind of brought to you guys today will show them that we're not starting at ground zero.
No, we know what it is.
Work on this too. So.
Well, it sounds like you have, some advocates in this room and in at least one in council, and I certainly think it's worth perhaps making the connection with Carol Allen to see if she can, at least direct you towards people at Reynolds that might be able to be the people to make the decisions. Yeah.
Jim, did you want to say something?
It's a great topic. I like the interesting alternative ideas that are coming out. I'm also pointing out that it's almost 9 o'clock. We have 4 items left.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for coming.
All right. Thank you for your time today. Thank you.
And with that note, if you all want to table the final agenda item, is it the routine items, and return to that, discussion in March, that is, that's totally up to you. We could talk about it tonight. but it's,
Buck.
I don't have any, like, I don't have like a lot of like information or data worked up on this because frankly, this is sort of the beginning of this conversation. This conversation about an FTE park ranger is happening, on multiple levels in other places as well. I certainly think it's a conversation that should happen before budget, even though it's not likely gonna be an FTE position that's included in next year's budget.
Of the remaining items, are there any of them that are time sensitive that we need to act on?
We could, it's, I don't know, I would turn that back to you all. I don't think so, but, yeah. That conversation will be there in March, certainly, and I can prepare more info on it, time if you'd like, so.
All right, so we're gonna table discussing the need for a full-time park ranger. Is it FTE, full-time employee?
Full-time employee.
Okay. We'll discuss that in March. Okay. Committee concerns, initiative, future agenda items, closing comments. We'll start with you, Victoria.
No, thank you all for coming. And, no, that's it.
Frank?
No, things are going great. I had a chance to do my parks run, so I checked out like 7 out of 8 parks, and everything's looking really good out there. I ran down Robbins Way, which was nice. Thanks for the work on Robbins Way, by the way. Saw a skate park popping up at Whedon. Some guys threw some curbs down.
I think so that's another thing about this is that when I think people have started building things.
It's out there. I'm seeing guys on longboards on the trails. I'm seeing them on Sandy Avenue. It's like they're everywhere, man, which is great. That's what it's supposed to be like. So, yeah, that's it.
I had a mother, resident, approach me, sand volleyball. Says that she has a daughter in middle school who's very interested in it and has even explored scholarships. So the closest sand volleyball pit is in Portland State.
Yeah.
So there is a dearth of sand volleyball courts. And in 30 minutes, I found out that it only takes 4 to 6 dump trucks to make a sand volleyball court. And of course, ridiculously, how cool it'd be to have a sand volleyball court in the Sandy River. Anyway, 30 minutes worth of brainstorming, more to come.
Jim?
Thanks again for all coming, appreciate it. I have nothing else.
We'll go online. Robbie?
Yeah, great meeting. I have to give my hats off to, I think his name is Nicholas, in the room presenting the skate presentation. Really compelling. I feel like you kind of shaped all of our perceptions and perspectives here because I think that we all definitely had it in our head that a big, huge concrete skate park is the only way to go. So thank you very much. For everyone else, has anybody gone into Sharon Nesbitt Park and played with the water feature, the wooden water feature?
Yeah.
Has anybody played with it? Yeah? Has anybody noticed that the water does not go into the drains? It
Yeah.
goes next to the drains.
Actually, we made note of that. Actually.
Okay, great.
So, and then there's a whole bunch of items that we've made a note of, so.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't the only one seeing that because it's quite comical if you go and look. There's a huge drain and then it's like burrowing a hole right next to the drain. So
Water pressure is definitely on the list too. And then every adult, it's more adults than kids that play with that water.
it's pretty fun. But the water does not go where it's intended to. So thanks. That's all for me.
Thank you for pointing that out. I had not noticed that. I'm gonna go look at that tomorrow.
Sherry?
No, probably same thing. Nicholas, awesome. Good job. And Reynolds should be very proud of you. And I think that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Shelley?
Nicholas,
Sorry.
thank you for the presentation. I think the skateboard presentation showing alternatives to the concrete park is an excellent diversion from the fairly contested concrete version of that skate park, as well as the high budget item. So it gives us definitely some food for thought there. Otherwise, great meeting. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, folks. Wishing you all a happy February.
I just reiterate what everybody else said. You guys did a great job tonight. Thanks for sharing with us and showing up, and don't give up. Keep showing up, keep going to meetings, keep sharing this information, because it's really good to see something other than millions of dollars worth of concrete bowls. There are other things that can be done that can be useful and wanted in our community, and I think that's really important. So thanks a lot for showing up and sharing with us today. I don't have anything else to add right now. I think the parks are looking great. I'm always out in the parks too. I am curious about blackberries in Sunrise Park, because I remember, like, did we do any polling this year at all?
I gave that to the local park users. No one got back to me about removing or installing, so I haven't done any maintenance in that area in 6 months probably.
Okay.
Skylar is doing a great work.
He is doing, and I would second that. Skylar's doing such a great job. I'm excited to see some big belly cans going in at Sunrise, even if it's just a couple. It's great to have, you just got him sitting there. So props to him for the cement work and everything he's doing there. He's been great. He helped fix
That's a volunteer effort, and we offered if anyone wants to volunteer for blackberry removal in their area. It's up to the homeowner and the parks people.
So if community members wanted to volunteer, they want to get rid of blackberries, would they go about contacting the Parks Department and figuring out how to sign the correct paperwork, and then?
Yeah, we need to get people set up with volunteer paperwork before they just go for it. Well, I really, really appreciate anybody who wants to be doing any amount of volunteering in parks, whether that is invasive weed removal or trash pickup or, anything really that isn't, that is scoped properly for citizen volunteers, then I fully support it. But we do, it is a requirement that we ask you to fill out and sign some basic paperwork. It's important, and track your time. All those things it's really just it's an insurance requirement. So. So they can contact me. I mean, technically, Molly King is the city's volunteer coordinator. So Molly kind of goes through the process of getting people all set up and approved for volunteering, and then she passes them off to me for instructions and directions if there's any question about what they're to be doing. So.
All right, I guess that's it for me. Thank you for everything you guys are doing. Item number 10, hold or cancel. I think we're having our March meeting, right? So,
and really we have like kind of 2 agenda items bumped. So, between now and March, please, everybody, check out your parks master plan, and try to come prepared with like something that you would like to, I don't know, see, work on this year. Like say, let's kind of look further out than next month and a little bit, if that's what we want to do.
all right, then I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Victoria, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, guys.